So today we wanted to talk about some specific things that we can do in the circle. And I just wrote down 4 things, and let's see how far we get with that.
Okay.
And there's probably like 10 more, but we're going to start with those. So the first one will be music, then writing, then art as a broad topic, and movement. So those are 4 things that I don't do each of them in every circle, but I've done them all in circles. And I really like to incorporate things like that. So my circles are more than just sitting, doing the listening circle, and then saying goodbye. I always do a creative thing. Something something beyond just the meeting, something that I feel starts a process and deepens the theme that I'm choosing in some way, or like it has to do with the theme that I'm choosing, and that's how I'm also choosing the activity that I'm doing. So just as a very simple example, the last circle that we had, it was in Gemini, it was an air sign, and air signs are connected to the mind, are very mental signs. So I like to do a writing exercise, for example, for that.
Oh, okay.
Because it engages the mind, and it like lets us explore this mental realm and express it in a way. So for example, in a fiery or a watery sign, I would do more artsy things, because they are more like right brain kind of things to me. I know it feels more like water, for example, is a sign of emotions. So I would try to find a way to express our emotions, and I feel for me that's like easier in drawing, for example, or in movement than in words. Like I would not choose a writing exercise for a water sign, for example. I think it's possible, and I mean, it might be that it's actually good in an air sign circle to not use writing, to get away from the mind a little bit. You can also turn it around. So it always depends on what you want to achieve with that. What's your goal in that, in a way. And then, for example, to just close the circle, the earthy signs, they are very body. Earth is like our body, very like the very manifest. And for earth, it's really good to move. For earth, like a good idea to do some kind of movement, for example. And for fire, it could be movement, could be art, could be sounding, music, singing, speaking out loud, things like that.
That makes sense.
And so we got those first ideas of how and why we're going to do something. It's always kind of good to know why you're doing it, not just to bring some exercise in to bring an exercise in, but to bring it to enhance the circle, to enhance the experience, to bring more self-knowledge in a way. How I choose the activities I do. If I want to explore deeper, how can I do that? How can I dive deeper into this theme that I chose for my circle? So, but we're going to start with music. Okay. Music is a very special topic, because music we always do. I think, like, for me personally, music belongs into the circle. And I think it really enhances the energy, the energetic flow, like we talked about last week. when you sing, for example, or when you just sound or just play instruments, I always bring different instruments. I have a drum, I have different rattles, I have little bells, I have a singing bowl, all like very simple instruments. I don't play any complicated, I don't play guitar or something like this, even though I like admire people that play real instruments, but I only play rhythm instruments. And for the circle, that totally works.
That makes sense. And like, what better way to work with energy than with something that can actually be measured as energy? You can actually measure sound waves and their effect on the environment, and it's like something that actually really genuinely taps into actual real energy. You know, it's not anything that's abstract.
Yeah, that's very true. And so I always invite women to take an instrument, take a little rattle or something, because I felt that, first of all, a lot of people are inhibited to sound out loud. And having something in your hands, again, like we talked about this before, touching it, it's a very like sensual, sensitive experience. And then you make a little sound, and you can start like just very low, and you don't have to go all crazy right away, but it helps, I think, to get into it, to find a rhythm. For example, I often play the drum, and that is because I built my own drum, so I'm in love with it. And it brings a very distinct and strong rhythm. And I found it hard in the beginning to drum and sing at the same time, but it works. And it's really just a practice thing. So
Right.
In the beginning, for example, I invited another woman to play the drum so that I didn't have to play it while I sing. That also works. And
Right.
that's also nice to give over this, okay, will you drum the rhythm for us while I bring in the voice and the words. So yeah, if you feel like if it's a little bit too much maybe to play an instrument and sing and do all these things, then it's totally okay to pass it on. And it's actually nice, to have someone who's playing the drum, and especially if you have women there who don't really like to sing, for example. It's like something that not everybody is totally into.
Yeah.
Then it's nice to still contribute to the music in
Right.
different ways. So you give the opportunity to contribute in different ways. And I think that opens up to where you try out more things, where you I also invite people to just hum, if you don't know the words or you don't want to look at your paper with the words all the time. Then it's nice to just bring sound in. It's not about singing the actual song. It's more about experiencing and experimenting with sound.
Right.
So you open up a space for just experience and experimentation and trying out new things, and getting a little bit courageous with it in a way. I think like singing is the kind of thing that kind of it calls for courage. And what I learned in the singing circle, I was in the singing circle for many years, and it needs one to sing loud. Singing along is so much easier than singing.
Right.
So in the woman circle, I decide to be the one to sing loud. And that is a very conscious choice. And it's not very easy, but I'm okay. I don't have to sing very pretty. I just have to sing, you know, I just have to provide a space where people can sing along. So it doesn't really matter how like beautiful my song is. You know, I'm not like judging myself in that. I really don't care about that. So I just open up and let it out. And that seems to work. It's harder online. I have to admit that. If you do online circles, singing might be a difficult kind of thing because then everybody's kind of sitting in their own room and it feels really like funny. But when you're together in a circle, that's, yeah, you definitely want to sing.
Right, and then you've also got the vibrations interacting with each other in a circle, and it's all in one space together.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So and that's the nice thing about singing in a group is like you enhance each other. It's not like who sings the loudest, who sings the prettiest or whatever, you know, it's never a competition. It's like singing to support each other, really, you know, supporting each other with voice, harmonizing each other with voice, and coming together and really connecting with voice.
It's almost like it's finding the courage that you already have in you too.
Yeah.
Letting it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and finding this, and I mean, it's really about expression. No, it's so closely connected to our throat, to our expression energy center. And if we can open that, that's why I sing before speaking. We open that and then we speak from a different place.
Right.
And I've also done, and this is really, if you're starting a circle and you're really insecure about that, but you would love to sing, it is totally possible. I did that in one of my first circles. I turned on a mantra in the background and I just played this music and then we chanted over it, and we chanted the mantra, and it's totally okay, you know, nobody's gonna say, oh, she didn't really sing, you know, she played this mantra. No, I mean, it's just to create the space. And if you feel insecure with that, then it's totally okay to get help with that. And playing music and singing along is a perfectly fine way, I think.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, and it worked. I mean, especially if it's mantras. No, for example, I played the heart mantra, and it goes just like yum, yum, and you have like this Indian music in the background, like that gets you all trancy, anyways, and then you chant yum, and it really worked. You know, we chanted like for much longer than I planned. I was like, oh, it's been 8 minutes, you know. So and that can really bring you into a different state too, and that is the magic with music and with sound. It brings you in a trance state. Especially if you chant like a repetitive thing, like a mantra, and then it's not important, I think, to understand the words, for example. I mean, it's nice if you bring an Indian or a Tibetan mantra in the circle, it's nice if you know what that's about, you know, who's singing it and why. Or if you bring like Native American songs, for example, you know, it's like, it's good to have some kind of context and not just take it. It's also out of respect, I feel, for the original culture where that's from. And especially with Native American, I think I would always be very careful what I choose. I would, for example, not bring Lakota Sweat Lodge songs into the circle because they just belong in a certain place and they're made for a certain place.
Well, right, and we could even call that medicine, and there's certain medicines for certain situations, and just like any other medicine, we don't want to put it where it doesn't belong.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, I bring like all kinds of songs, rainbow songs and healing songs and mantras and bhajans. I don't know, bhajans are like Indian devotional songs.
Mm.
And even though I'm not a Hindu, they are just nice, repetitive kind of, yeah, they work. And so I'm always trying for sure to be very aware of where the songs come from, what are they about, what's the original context, is it like okay, is it like, am um I don't want to just take it, I want to definitely honor the people that created those songs.
Right.
But I find a lot of songs online, and there are a lot of woman circle songs online. Like really, you can find them on YouTube. Sometimes when I just want to find a new song, I look up songs on YouTube. And then I listen to them for a few days and sing them in my head and maybe sing them out loud. And then I bring them in the circle. And that's really nice. And for example, if you work with goddesses or something like that, there's a million songs for all the different goddesses that you could bring into the circle. And then I think it really works. I often look for like a song for the wind, or a song for the fire, a song for the water, a song for the earth, something that's very specific to the element that I'm working with.
Mm-hmm.
I often also begin the circle with just a sounding song. I connect with it really well. So find something that you feel comfortable with.
Right.
Like with everything. No, it's no use to bring a complicated Indian mantra in the circle if you're like not connected to that in any way. So yeah, just research, find. I know there's like different groups that do medicine songs and healing songs. I don't bring a lot of Spanish songs in, even though I know a bunch of Spanish songs, but most of our circle participants don't speak Spanish, so it doesn't really make sense. But one song that I bring in, for example, if we have a water theme, is this water song that was created by Indian grandmothers, by Native American grandmothers, and they offered it to the world to heal the waters.
Mm.
And someone sent this to me on Facebook one day. And I really loved it, so I practiced that song. And this is one of the few songs where I also bring the lyrics in.
Mm-hmm.
So usually in the beginning when I started, I would print out a piece of paper and have all the song lyrics on it. Now I don't do that because I don't want people to look at the lyrics and to involve the mind too much.
Oh.
Because when you sing and especially when you have repetitive songs, then it's easy to get into, after a few rounds, the first words. And I think it feels more natural to get into a song like that by just hearing it and feeling it, and then you start singing it. And really, I would say it's not about the words so much, it's not like about, oh my God, I said the wrong word.
Mm-hmm.
It's like to get over this a little bit too, over this like mental right or wrong, and is this a real song or not? If I mix up words, that's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't
I
matter.
appreciate that. That's the whole point for me, is to relax the mind and get into a different plane of thought.
Yeah, exactly. To get into a different part of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, but with this song, I printed the words and I gave them to everyone to just give and pass on, because I think that was the original motive for them to make this song,
Mm-hmm.
is to spread it.
Yeah,
So I'm participating in spreading it.
right. It's
And
given. Oh, you're allowed to take it into your life and take it into the world. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And it's like wanted and it's important because it's a healing song for the waters and we really need that. So I bring things like that in the circle if I like something like that. No, if it comes my way and I feel connected to it and I resonate with it, you know. I mean, if I didn't resonate with it, doesn't matter to me who brought out the song or who asked me to spread the word, I wouldn't do it. But
Mhm.
with that one, for example, I felt like when I heard it the first time, I cried, you know. I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And then they also have like a video where they have the old ladies and they sing the song, you know, and they are all by the river and it's just really beautiful.
Oh,
So this one, I spread it for sure. And I almost sing every time we have a water element, I'm gonna bring this song because I want to yeah, just bring it along and bring this energy along. And I think it's a really nice teaching, you know, and it's from me a really nice way to connect to the ancestors of the place here because I'm not a native here.
mhm.
So it's nice to create a connection for me, you know. So wherever you are in the world, find something like that, you know.
Mm.
See if it comes your way, you know. Just open yourself for it and it may just come your way. Like if you're in Australia, you know, you may have someone give you a song from the native Australians that you can bring into your circle, because I think the circle has a lot of power and a lot of like, yeah, it has a lot of energy. We're doing energy work by doing the circle.
Right.
So we may as well use it in a positive way for the world, you know, for beyond our circle.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, I think, yeah, that's the reason why I'm and why I think it's very important to be aware what kind of songs and what kind of sound you bring into the circle. So it's not gonna be just anything. But yeah, there's so much out there, and as I said, it's totally fine to play a song in the background and sing along if you're not in the place yet where you feel I can be the loud one. I think, you know, I mean, it's okay and you will grow into it totally.
Me personally, I like to get loud too,
That's
and I love that it took somebody being loud to get me to feel like I wanted to be loud too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah, it's very empowering to hear someone else just open their voice,
Mhm.
right? Yeah. And it also like it broadens my view, you know. Every new song I learn, I feel like I've, you know, I learned something new. I have like a new way of expressing myself, and all the songs, they bring something into our hearts, you know. It's like the music, the vibration, and the words together resonate.
Yes, and there's power in words, and sound waves go on and on forever.
Mhm.
And so, what is that? What is that scripture? It says something like, "Have a glad heart and make a joyful noise," because you're, with that joyful noise that you're making, you're putting something good out into the world that gets to stay good forever, and it just keeps going as a good thing that's just reverberating around you.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I haven't really worked with that, but I think sounding is also an interesting idea to work with. Just finding a way to express yourself in sound instead of words, for example.
Yeah, like throat work, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think like for those things, it's like if you work with sound anyways, bring it in the circle. I always think like that, you know. If anything that I learn in my daily life, anything that's part of my life, I'm gonna bring it in the circle. And so especially if I feel comfortable with it.
Mhm.
So just look in your personal life, you know, what can I bring into the circle? what kind of things do I have to offer? And that also helps me to feel that the things that I offer are like good, you know?
Yeah. Oh, your creative power gives you the ability to do that work, to come into a circle and do that energy work. You've got that creative power that's unique to you for a reason.
Hmm. Yeah, right. And also to appreciate the things I know, because everybody has little things like that. You know, everybody has like something that they love, something that
Mhm.
they love to do. And then it's yeah, bring it into the circle. If you and also if you learn something, because if you learn something, like I practice qigong for example, I always bring it into the circle, because once I explain it and once I teach it and once I share it, I double learn it, you know, then the knowledge is so much deeper ingrained in me. Or like I bring stuff from yoga, you know, all these things. So if you do something in your personal life, bring it in the circle, whatever it is, you know, if it's dance, music, art, whatever. You know, even like cooking or herbal stuff, or you know, anything that you can share it. And it's nice to just try it, you know, to see where it lands, to see like what happens if I bring this in the circle.
Yeah, you never know how it might affect things, another person or the atmosphere or anything.
So yeah, you said that words have a lot of power, so let's maybe go on to words,
Words and writing.
language. So I like to work with writing exercises, and for that, I'm gonna present the beautiful book now.
Oh, I have that book and I love it dearly.
Yes. So there's a lot of different writing exercises in there, and if you like work through it for yourself and did some of the things, then it's really easy to take them into the circle. So, you know, I mean, you may even like make a circle that goes through that book. That would totally a possibility too, no?
I'm just so tickled that you brought that up because that book's actually been really important to me in my life. And I wonder if some of the manifesting work that I did in that book is bringing us together and allowing us to have this conversation. That's
Mm-hmm.
great. That was The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, in case anybody needed to hear it.
Yeah, so I mean, like when I started, I definitely worked with that book. No,
Mhm.
and I had like this idea, or I want to, I don't know, okay, no, I don't know, just find out something about yourself. No,
Mhm.
that's basically what the book is about too. So I'm asking questions. This is like writing exercises is basically the science of asking good questions.
Oh,
Questions that just bring thoughts into motion. No, and that, like I do, I think, yeah, good question. It's like, oh, you know, and then you start writing. And what I often do is just a kind of brain dump. I'm just gonna call it brain dump now. Or we can also call it 20 words in 2 minutes, or 20 wishes in 2 minutes, or 20 thoughts in 2 minutes, or 20 whatever. So you can bring your theme into the writing, and it's nice to start with that. This is an exercise where everybody just takes a pen and paper. We stop 2 minutes, and in these 2 minutes, you just write down any word that comes into your mind without thinking about it, without judging it, without any second thought. Anything that comes into my mind, any like really a stream of thoughts.
mm.
And I just put it on the paper. And that is, for me, it's a really good and easy starting exercise. And then you already have something there that you can look at. And that for me is the magic about writing.
Mm.
Writing allows us to look at our thoughts. You know, when I
That's
like
great.
dump my brain and then I look at the page and read through it, and then my eyes will automatically jump to certain words. You know, it's automatically you have first you just brought it out as a flow, and then you can pick words, for example, and then we can do things like circle certain words, or you know, it's take something from that first exercise into another process. So it's like, for me, I really love this exercise. It's a really good starting point, especially if you want to start with writing. um yeah, and then you can, I don't know, ask more questions. That's really writing exercises. It's all about asking questions. um, and then you look at it and see, like, what do I actually say? You know, what am I writing right now? What am I telling myself? Because mostly these exercises, I don't ask everyone to share everything. It culminates into a final sentence mostly. I'm just going to say it like that because I always work with like the final sentence. So we're working through, like, from dumping our thoughts, from picking out what is most important for us, asking more questions to that, going deeper into that, looking at what is the story behind it. You know, like, where does this take me? What else is in there? So I'm kind of digging. No, with writing, I can dig deep. I can dig into my brain. I can dig into my thoughts, and I can look at my stories in a different way.
Mm.
And also, I think it's very interesting to look at how do I actually express things. You know, how do I talk about certain things? What kind of words do I use? Do I write about I, or do I write in a third person or in an impersonal way? That's really interesting to look at too. So there's many different ways to dig out more, dig deeper with that. And in those things, like the Artist Way book really helped me to, just for myself, I think, I mean, in the beginning, I just started doing it, and then I brought like one or two things from the Artist Way into the circle, and then I just let it go from there. And I always trust myself. If I have an idea, if a question comes into my mind, I'm going to use that question. So I totally divert from my original plan often. I have to admit, but it works, you know, because if I feel like this is the energy now, and or if like I get some kind of feedback and it triggers something in me, and I get another question or I get another like thing that I want to bring into this process, I'm trusting it. I'm totally trusting my
I think that's the mark of someone who knows what they're doing. They have enough faith in their ability to change course if they need to, and focus on what's important at that moment, because that's, I mean, that's the epitome of living in the present or working in the present.
Yeah, that's good. And also what comes up. And
Yeah.
what comes up for me too, because I always reflect my inner experience and my inner work into the circle.
Mm-hmm.
So the questions I'm asking, they're not just questions that come into my mind, they're questions that come from my heart. You know, they're questions that I ask myself and that I, during my own process, come across. And that's, again, you know, the same thing we always have. Like, if it's connected to me and to my story, for me, it has so much more power to bring into the circle,
Mm-hmm.
because then it's real. You know, it's not like something I take from a book. Of course, the book helps me, you know. But if it comes from me personally and from my story and from my process, it's going to be more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's going to get us further, deeper. So mostly, if I do writing exercises, I want it to culminate into one sentence, one expression that we can say out loud. So as I said, I don't have everyone share their entire process usually, but I ask everyone to share something at the end. And to make that easier, I'm going to say, like, set an intention for yourself. If we, for example, talk about how I see my body, something like this, just as a random example. And then we write about it and we think about it and we get somewhere with it. I'm going to ask you to set an intention of how you can nurture your body more. And then we speak that out. So I want to come to something that's like a conclusion and something that you can take out of the circle into your personal life, so that this process helps you and brings something for your life that you take with you, some action, for example, something that you want to do or that you can do, some way that your mind changes, your view changes. Something like that, something that empowers you in your everyday life. So I'm going to think of, setting an intention or something. It's mostly an intention. I think that's like a good way to say it. And then I'm asking everyone to speak out their intention. And with that, it's very interesting to see, how you formulate that for yourself. And I think it's very, very good to hear other people's intention and the way they say it, to have some kind of comparison, not really to compare what's better or worse, but just to see, okay, this woman, she is so clear in her intention. Maybe I can become clearer in mine. Just to have like something, because otherwise you're just like sitting there with your sentence and you don't really know, it's like, how impactful is it, or like, where does it take me? Or if you don't really do that in your everyday life and set intentions like that, for example, it may be weird, it may be foreign to say, my intention is to treat my body better,
Right.
But then it's like, and also how concrete it is, how really applicable it is to everyday life. So,
and whether or not it's part of your personal transformation, right? And you're using a great example with the body reference, because I know so many people in my particular environment think about it a lot. And so when we talk about transforming the body, we're also talking about transforming our lives to support that transformation, and going on this path where we can speak our intention allows us to physically start making that change within ourselves.
Yeah. And it's so good to hear yourself say certain things.
Yeah.
If you listen to yourself saying like, I want to do that, and especially like, I try to push a little bit towards very concrete actions more than just wishes, for example. Everybody kind of wishes that we would treat ourselves better, but what does it mean to you exactly? What is one thing you will do next week?
Yeah.
To push it really in the direction where it becomes very tangible and doable, and you can actually go out of the circle and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this next week, I'm going to go to the yoga class or do a smoothie in the morning or whatever, whatever it is. So that I think that is really something where I feel it brings it brings the potential of a transformation. It's like this first little spark, it's the seed. So I'm trying to set the seed, I'm trying to plant the seed in everyone. I'm trying to spark the little flame in everyone,
It gives them power over themselves.
Yes. Yeah, I think that is like, for me, especially when we speak it out loud and we hear ourselves say, and we have witnesses, looking at it, why we're saying that, why we're saying, I know I want to live a sober life, for example, things like that. It's like this has a lot more impact if you have in the back of your head, all these people heard me say that now, so if I come drunk next time, it's gonna look really funny, So yeah, I think that is like I'm trying to really empower with the exercises that I do, to where it's really something that you take home and you're like, wow, okay, I said that, I'm going to do that. Or I had like this understanding, I saw something that I wasn't aware of before. Yeah, so that, yeah, for me, writing is very powerful. It's also very left brain. So it's we can structure in writing. No, that's why I used several different exercises to bring us to a certain trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very clear of where I want to go with that.
Nice.
So I'm using this ability of the left brain to do all these things, to do focused action, to really focus on stuff. Now we go to the other side, the right brain. For the right brain, I'm not going to do things like that because it's just not working. So when I work with art, I work in a completely different way. When I work with art, it's always open, very, very, very open what comes out at the end. And even though I know some very specific art exercises where you want to go into a process and end up somewhere, in the circle, really how I use art is to express our feelings, our intuition, our emotions, to go into a space that for me is hard to say in words. So with drawing, for example, I use a lot of drawing because it's easy. I bring a few materials and everybody can draw.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, I'm probably, if I do a day-long circle experience or something like this, I may put up easels, but mostly I don't have the possibilities to do that. So I'm just gonna bring some papers and some pens and pencils, and everybody can draw, and it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be special, because it does it in itself. Once we start drawing something, and that I often draw after meditation, for example, where I go somewhere where I try to activate a certain part within. We can maybe talk about meditation next time, like more specific, like how I actually do the because guiding meditation is it's easier if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more
So we
about that.
can look into that next time. So yeah, when I guided a meditation and we have images come up, then I invite everyone to draw. And then it's really nice because you already have something that you can express, and then you just bring it onto the paper. And it's like, it's not that I have to create a topic first, or like get people into the zone. It's kind of, especially with the meditation, it's kind of almost automatic. There are pictures there is imagery there's colors there, and colors for me, and there's studies and stuff about it, they are so connected to our emotions.
Yeah.
Color is an emotional thing for everyone, and it has like effects on our inner being. And for me, it's really, I can touch places in myself that I don't know how to express in words, for example.
Even little children can pick up on the emotions of colors very easily, actually.
Right.
Maybe better than adults.
Yeah, because adults, there's so much in their minds, you know, they have like all these concepts and stuff about it, but you don't need the concepts, you know, you see the color and feel inside.
Mm-hmm.
And so I usually just provide the materials, and then we go into a very intuitive process. And I've also done like I come up with a topic and we draw something from this topic.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be a little bit more specific because, for example, what we did one time was draw your yes and your no.
Oh yeah,
What
I
does
saw
that
that.
look like? What does that feel like? How does that translate into a drawing, into a shape? Um, and it's really like to let things come up as they come up. So I'm going to guide that process less than I would guide a writing process. A writing process, I think, I mean, it's also nice to just write and write and write, but with the writing, I want to get somewhere. So my writing is much more focused, and my drawing would be much more open and just look where it goes.
I love that
And
comparison.
you can let people share their drawings and have them speak about them, but you can also just let them go with it, you know. So that depends a little bit the time, but also a little bit the topic. So if I feel it's a very emotional topic, for example, or a very personal topic, I may not have everyone share anything. You know, I may just go with express it, find a way for you to express it, and that's it. That's all we need, you know. So especially with like how much I have everyone share, I really decide that according to how difficult the topic is. Know if I have a difficult topic, I may have people share less to get deeper into their personal process. And anyways, I mean, I always say, you know, you can share as much or as little as you feel like. So it's okay, you know, if you just pass and if you just say thank you, you know, I don't want to share anything right now. That always needs to be okay. That's why we create the safe space. But yeah, with the drawing, I think it's more like an inner process that can stay inside too, you know, and it's more like between you and your emotions, and then you have the drawing, and it's more like the drawing communicates something to you, so you don't really need the words. No, it's like it's already there, it's already manifested in the form and in the shape of whatever you created.
Mm. Something that came to mind as we started talking about moving from something like a guided meditation or a visualization into or into a creative expression is if you think of like brain scans and how those parts of the brain light up if you're doing a visualization, then those places are still awake in your mind and they're still lit up and there's still actual energy in there, and it would make sense that you're primed and ready to go through that creative work.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like, yeah, it's already there. You just need the pen in your hand, basically. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like the impulse is already there. Yeah, I agree. That's good. Nice. And I had another thought just now. Well, maybe later. Maybe I will remember. Oh yeah. Ha. So I've also done crafting in my circle, and that was tricky. And it's funny, you know, I mean, I've tried out a lot of things, and I think it's really good to try out things, but also it's totally okay to make the experience that not everything works out for everyone, and that is totally fine. So we did some crafting once, and half of the circle was totally into it and the other half was like confused and they didn't really know what to do. And that was like an interesting experience for me in a way.
So I may have been at one of those circles that you're referring to, and we made something very special, and I did have a good I did have a good experience with that, and that actually was something I was able to bring home and continue working on in my home. And the more I worked on it, the more I got the sort of the fulfillment, the intended fulfillment of it. And that's the thing, is like it's something you share with people who are wanting to take that education and run with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I'm glad I tried it. I would always try something like that again, you know. And I think it's also stepping away from, I don't have to do anything that everybody likes, you know. It's not about, I mean, in general, it's not about being liked, you know. I may ask a question that someone is totally like against, you know, or something, and that's okay, you know. That's actually not my problem then, you know. I think like it's good to separate myself from what is happening in the circle,
Yeah.
and just to accept and to learn with everything that you do and to try out everything that you can. I think, yeah, you know, it's really stepping away from doing it right, because that's not what all of this is about.
Exactly. It's about doing what's right for you, right?
Yeah, exactly.